Hey everyone, it's the Winston Boys, Alex and Kush, delivering discussion, commentary, and fun every Saturday night.
Solid.
All right. That was so official. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, so how was your Christmas celebration stuff going on?
it was
Anything fun?
good. Christmas was yesterday, right?
Yep, that it was.
Yeah, got the presents and the whole kind of thing. What about you?
Yeah, got presents. I we played a board game, we played Settlers of Catan, which was fun. My
Hmm.
mom and sister are like little kids and couldn't sleep all night, so they just kind of slept all day, and my dad played like 8 games of chess. And then and then my dad made the mistake of putting on the Les Mis soundtrack, and I sang the whole thing and like embarrassed my sister. So it's really fun.
Oh, I can't really relate to that,
I
but
really like that soundtrack. I don't like
yeah,
singing much. I just like that soundtrack. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, that was about it. It was time. Got a mic, so now probably can hear me.
yeah.
Our
We both got
millions of
mics.
loyal followers can hear me, and
Yeah,
um, and yeah, that's about it. Oh, and I got an SSD for my desktop, which is actually super nice because it actually like works now. It's like super fast. Used to take like 20 minutes to boot up. Now it's like boom, ready to go. So yeah,
nice.
it's good stuff. Um, yeah, so I
Yeah,
wanted to ask you, right? I mean, your family isn't Christian, and I know you're not Christian, and it always makes me wonder, right? I grew up Christian, and I guess people oftentimes say Merry Christmas around this time of year, and I guess I wonder, like, how does that make you feel as someone who doesn't celebrate the religious, aspects of Christmas per se? Like, what do you think?
yeah. Well, I'm glad you asked that because this is a topic that I feel like I've answered this question so many times now that I
I'm
know
sure you
like
have. I don't think I have
I know what I want to say about it. So
it.
like I feel like everyone always like asks that question, especially like when you grow up in like the South and like it's like really religious. Everyone's always like, oh, like what do you do on Christmas? And I'm just like probably like the same shit without like the church and like sing like I wake up, there's a Christmas tree, there's presents under it, like there's lights, there's ornaments, there's like a wreath on our door. Like
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure
exact
that's
same
what almost
shit.
all Christian people do. Yeah, like
Yeah, same
I
shit
didn't go
without
to church this
Jesus.
morning.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but it's like yeah, I mean like I mean like it's literally the same thing.
It's exactly.
Except for the fact that Indian people know that the only restaurants open on Christmas are Indian restaurants. So everyone else who can't find anywhere to go eat out with their family, Indian people are the only ones who know the hack to that.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I had to suffer through my mother's cooking. No, it was pretty good yesterday, but
Really? Yeah,
no, it
last
was.
time you were talking about Nawab last time, right?
Yeah, dude, I could have gone for some nawab yesterday, honestly, but
Yeah, you actually you
didn't feel
literally could have because we that's where we ate from.
it. Ooh, there you go. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
nawab is some good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you're watching, go check out nawab. It's some good food.
Yeah, we're not
Good food.
sponsored by the way. You should
No, we're not.
sponsor
Hey,
us
there you go.
though.
There's our first sponsor. We can get nawab to taste the nawab.
Yeah. I like how like the I like how like we know them, but like we're asking them through this podcast to like sponsor us.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you were like, oh,
you got to go through the
anyways,
professional channels. We got to, professionalism. And my
yeah,
penguin pajamas here. Let's check them out. Oh yeah,
nice.
professionalism. But you can't
But
see me,
yeah,
except I just showed off.
any any businesses in Winston though that want to
Yeah,
sponsor us, please send an email to
yeah.
winstonboyspodcast at gmail.com.
Hey,
So you get all four of our subscribers to hear about your business. So
I have a lot of
pretty
alternate
solid.
email accounts. We'll probably double the subscriber count once I get them all following.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
got
I
like
literally I
hospital
have five.
emails, wake emails, and I got all the emails.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all
So
I had on that though.
that's all you had on that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah,
What
it
about
was
you?
funny. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Okay, I was gonna say, what about you? You guys are because you guys are Greek, right? Is
Yeah,
that big
we're
Christmas
Greek
any different?
Orthodox Christian, which, contrary to popular belief, we do not worship the Greek gods.
Hmm.
Just want to get that out of the way. I'm not even joking. People have literally asked me that. I'm like, what? Okay. But no, it's basically just like Catholicism, but more like more icons, I guess, and like less
Hmm.
pope, no pope actually. That's probably the best way to describe it. I'm sure that like more serious Greek Orthodox Christians could find more like serious disagreements, but it's fairly similar to Catholicism, except we also speak in Greek because it's a Greek church. But it's actually ancient Greek, which is really strange because like I'll hear some words and then like I don't recognize as much of like ancient Greek as I do of regular Greek, but like there's still some overlap. It's kind of like listening to Old English or something if you really speak English. It's like not not recognizing much to begin with, and then you know the Old English really messes it up. So, but yeah, I mean,
Actually, I didn't know that.
yeah, it's actually the whole service is like they do like half in English and half in ancient Greek, but it's kind of wild. It's like really old. Kind of cool. I don't know. But I think it's cool. I'm kind of a history nerd. All that stuff is interesting to me. But yeah, so it's funny. My parents are the choir directors, and my mom's the organist, and my dad's the choir director at my church. And it's a pretty sizable church actually. And it's mostly Greek people, but there are a lot of Russian people and other Eastern European like kind of people there. And there's some Egyptian and Ethiopian Orthodox people as well who come. And so it's kind of a more diverse than you would think in a Greek church, but mostly Greek. And so basically we normally have like a Christmas Eve service, but we don't really have a Christmas service because everyone's got to open presents. I mean, come on. Priorities, man. We're capitalists before we're religious. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. But so my parents, when I was younger, I didn't go. I went a couple times when I was older. It's basically just like a church service, like Christmassy stuff. And they have like poinsettias and stuff. And then like, you don't go Christmas morning. We didn't attend the Zoom service because like I can't do Zoom services. It's so boring. Like church is like not super exciting to begin with, but like at least you're there and like you can think about stuff and it's like a calm time, and smells nice and you get to see people. But Zoom services, it's like way more boring and like way less fun.
Yeah.
Like all the bads and none of the goods, like the bads are amplified. So it's like, nah, I'll just say a prayer when I get up and that's it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's about what I think. Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
Got too many presents.
Well,
That's the only thing. I'm glad my
yeah.
mom didn't buy me clothes this year because I'm out of space to put clothes anywhere. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Like I have like crates because my whole room. So one of these days we'll have to do like a tour or something. Our living quarters for our captive audience here. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, we only got like a couple more weeks and then
That's
after this background, you guys get to see my ghetto ass big window
there you
that
go.
I
That's
have
exciting.
at
Yeah. So I
UNC.
mean, kind of like was down to I've got like too many books and not enough clothes storage space. So I've got like crates of clothes stacked on top of my poor little dresser that I've had since I was like a kid. And then
Yeah.
half my clothes are at Wake, and the rest are just like I have no. I can't afford no more clothes like space wise. It's impossible.
Really? Were you planning on going out though, like over the break, or you just bring enough clothes to like live, basically?
No, like I have too many clothes at home. Like even with the stuff at Wake, like
Oh,
I just have too many clothes. Like I have too many books, and my room's not that big, and I have nowhere else to put my clothes. Like if I get another shirt, I'm gonna have to throw out one of the shirts I have.
that was a little flex right there. That was a little like Ty Lopez spice. Like I got too many books. You remember that video from a few years ago, like on YouTube, where like it was an ad that would always play, like it would open up and it was like a guy in his garage. Like he's famous now. His name is Ty Lopez, and like it'd be him like recording selfie. Like this is back in 2012. Like he'd be recording selfie mode on his phone, like standing next to a Lamborghini. He's like, I can't remember what the first part was, but he was like, "You guys see that? That's a Lamborghini." But he's like, I always remember this part. He's like, you know what's more important than a Lamborghini? Knowledge. And then he's like, these are all my books. It was like it was a
Yeah,
meme
dude, that's
before.
just like me. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that you're doing. I was making fun of you for
No,
saying
absolutely.
that
It's
saying that
kind
you're
of
smart.
hilarious. I mean, what is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 bookshelves in my room. Like I'm that big.
Really?
I'm a book hoarder. Yeah, it's horrible. It's just like
It's not bad. That's a good thing.
I guess I don't know. But the problem is like Is
That's
to
a
the point
bigger
like
that's a
I'm
bigger
stacking the books
flex.
on top of the books because I have too many books.
I mean,
I
that's a
got they
bigger
don't fit
flex than
themselves in.
saying you have 5 bookshelves like full of money.
Yeah, I
Like if
guess.
you
I
said
don't know.
that,
They're
I'd be like,
expensive.
and but you full of books.
Yeah, man.
That's a
All
big
knowledge.
flex.
I've read some of them. I haven't read all of
Yeah.
them. There's some books in there like encyclopedias and stuff. Who reads an encyclopedia? I don't got time for
I
that.
mean, you still have you might have when you were a kid. Who
I looked
knows?
at them, but I never read the whole thing. Let's
Yeah.
see. So yeah. Um, so we wanted to talk about some crazy stuff that went down this week, kind of over across the other side of the world in Russia, right? There's this dude. I don't know. Some of our viewers may have seen it, heard of him. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Navalny. And Navalny was this opposition leader in Russia. He was kind of like calling out Putin on stuff he didn't like, not being democratic and stuff. And it's kind of supposed to be a sort of democracy, and calling him corrupt and stuff. And so Putin, first of all, in like 2018, 2016, something like that, some guy attacked him and like sprayed something in his eyes. They didn't really know what it was, but it made him go blind in one eye. Like, and then this year he just like randomly fell into a coma on a train or something on the way to like some remote place in Siberia. And he was like, I think he was some sort of political leader in Siberia. I forget what his title was. And so people were really mad over in the Russian Far East. And it's kind of interesting situation. But the crazy part was the guy was poisoned. He called up the spy. Now get this. Imagine you're a spy, right? And I'm the guy you poisoned. I'm like, yo, hey, I'm your boss now. So tell me, how did you poison that idiot Navalny? And you were like, oh, I poisoned his underwear. And I'm like, what? You poison? I mean, okay, well, that's a weird way to poison someone. And then like he like fooled the spy into thinking he was his superior and recorded it all. And so now the guy's like on tape talking about how he poisoned this guy's underwear.
So there's no like speculation. It's like this is just an actual like
I
thing.
mean, he showed up in Germany. They flew him out to Germany and they looked at him in Germany and they were like, okay, you were poisoned by this Russian nerve agent. And then he called up this guy. He called all the other spies and he was like, hey, I'm Navalny. How did you poison me? And they were like, we're not going to talk to you, right? Like, fuck off. And then he called up the last one because he's had options. He's like, hey, I'm your boss. And I was like, oh, okay, well, and I was like, how'd you poison Navalny? And he was like, okay, I'll tell you. And then he was like, yeah, we poisoned his underwear. So, when literally when his balls got sweaty, he would absorb the poison and die. And it didn't work out. We don't know what happened. And he was like, oh, it's too bad. And then he hung up. And then you're like, oh, here's this transcript, guys. Bye. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember because you mentioned it and like I hadn't heard about that before. And then I was watching the news on because the thing is like I watch the news 3 times a week just because like I watch it when I work out. So like I usually like feel like I hear about these things like they at least come up like at some point in the morning on like CNN. Like they'll mention like, oh, like this thing is happening in Russia, or like Russia was paying like bounties for like you like whatever. Like I feel like all these
Yeah.
things come and like I never heard about this. And then like it's funny because you mentioned it Wednesday, and then like Friday morning, I remember I was watching the news and I heard like Navalny or whatever, like I heard the name, and then I looked up at the TV and it was like a video of like 2 guys trying to like break into an apartment or something, and I was like, oh, this is that thing
Oh,
that Alex was talking about.
maybe some new stuff is developed. I didn't read the news yesterday.
Yeah,
Christmas time, gotta open them presents.
but it's crazy that they I mean, I don't even like someone. You have to be pretty creative to like think of that way to poison someone. Like with all the ways that are out there.
Dude,
Like
that's
I like
there's
my
a cowardly
personal.
and like a manly way to poison someone, right? Like poisoning them via their balls is like the cowardly way. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like at least be like,
Yeah,
give them something in the tea, but don't go for the. Come on, like.
nah. My personal favorite is the Kim Jong Un. I think that's like that's like a
What's
Hall
the
of
Kim Jong Un?
Fame. It's a Hall of Fame poisoning. Like no, the
What
one
did
where
he
he
do?
killed his brother. Where
What did he do? I don't know about
it
that.
was a few years ago. There was like he like so there was so obviously people from the Korean government were pretending to be like these Chinese or Japanese like prank TV show producers,
Mhm.
and they were going around and like they found these like 2 girls and they were like, hey, like do you want to be on our prank TV show? and we go around like the world and we prank people. And so like of course like they said yes, they were like two young girls, they didn't really know. And so they're going around filming all these funny pranks all around the world. And then all of a sudden one day like there's just this prank where like they're like, hey, like take this syringe and go spray it in that guy's face. And then the girls go and do it. And then like after that, the TV show producers go back to North Korea, obviously, because they're not actually TV show producers. And it's
God.
happened in Singapore. And then the girls get charged with the murder of that guy, even though like there's like so much corroboration that like they thought they were on a TV show. Like I think the North
Yeah,
Koreans even admitted it or something.
that's
But
hilarious.
like the girls like ended up getting in trouble for it, for like assassinating like Kim Jong Un's brother.
That's
So
hilarious.
that's one of my favorite assassinations. I don't know if
That's
this
a
one
pretty
tops that.
that's a pretty I mean, it's pretty creative. You gotta give him credit, you know. I think there
Yeah.
was like I think in the 60s or 70s or something when the Americans were trying to assassinate Fidel Castro, they sent him like exploding cigars or something. I heard there were like a
Really?
few hundred. Yeah, there were like a few hundred like American funded assassination attempts on Castro's life that like made it to various stages but didn't actually succeed.
Hmm.
Kind of wild.
Did you know on TikTok they keep talking about the one where like during the Cold War, like we went and dropped like extra large condoms on Russia to make them think that we all had like really big like, you know,
Did we
like
really?
that was it was like that's like the most common like thing on this topic that I hear about on TikTok.
I had no idea. That's wild. Okay. Huh.
Yeah. Just accidentally
Yeah.
dropped a crate of those, you know. My bad.
Sorry, we were just shipping him from I mean, why would you even be flying a box of
I
condoms
don't
over
fucking
Russia?
know.
That's what I don't know. Flying these in from Germany to Alaska? I don't think that's I think it's faster to is it faster to fly over Russia to Alaska from Germany? I don't even know.
Probably
I
not.
feel
I've
like it's
never flown
not.
over Russia in my
Russia's really
life.
big. Russia
Yeah.
is really big.
It's big. It's
I
big
don't
on
know.
the European map though. Like on a globe, like because have you seen those like those websites you can use where you can drag countries over each other and then see what their real size is? You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about?
You gotta understand there's a state in Siberia that has 1 million people living in it, and it's like a small fraction of Russia that has more area than India. All right, and India is a big
Mm.
place.
Yeah.
It's Russia is sparsely populated and doesn't have that many people living in it and has a pretty small GDP, to be quite frankly honest with you. And their population is literally going down because they're too cold to have babies, I guess. I don't know. But they seriously have like a ridiculous amount of land area, like a sixth or a seventh or something of the land area on Earth. It's absurd.
Mm.
And more went during Soviet times, right? Because they had another couple million um,
Oh yeah, that's true.
kilometers, right? I mean, it's huge. It's really ridiculously large.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like wasteland, right? I mean, like I said, there's no one living there.
Yeah. Have you seen that documentary of the Canadian guys who they go into like Siberia and they're like looking for these North Korean labor camps and they end up finding
Really?
one way out in the middle of Siberia where it's like a North Korean like labor camp and like the people there are working and like the North Korean guy, like the guard who's running it, like he pulls like out a gun. He's like tells him to like leave and stuff. And they're out in the middle of like no like it's a cool like they go to Russia in some place that's in the middle of nowhere. Then they get on a train to the middle of nowhere. And like the train is really ratchet. Like everyone on the train is like drunk because that's all they can do because there's nothing else there.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
And
You're not
then
gonna have
like
internet,
yeah,
right?
and then they get to some town that's even more in the middle of nowhere, and then they get in like this guy, like they pay this guy to take him to like take them to like where like they told him they were looking for labor camps, and he was like, oh, I know where they are, and so he drives them out in his SUV out into the middle of nowhere, and then they find these like abandoned like communist like little mini like towns and stuff on the way, like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
so wild, like and they're in the middle of no like Siberia, like
No,
absolutely
yeah, I'm not
nothing.
surprised. I mean, the Soviets were trying to like force more people out that way, right? Because they had so much land that just wasn't developed, and there's a lot of mineral wealth and stuff, but it's just too cold. And there's, like you're literally in the middle of a continent, right? I mean, like it's not like you can have a port or something, right? And it's just like negative something degrees all the time, right? I mean, most of Siberia is just really frigid and right. I read an article
Yeah.
recently, kind of on a slightly different topic, but it was about like how Russia is literally like super hyped for global warming because like they're gonna be comfortable. like
Yeah.
like I'm not even joking. Like the article was literally about like it was like in the New York Times, and they're like, yeah, Russia's really not trying to fight global warming. Like they're totally okay with it because like actually most of their land will be farmable for the first time in history, and like the permafrost is going to melt, which really isn't a bad thing for Russia, right? Like, you'll have a bunch of refugees, which again, when you have like a seventh of the world's land area, right? Like refugees are fine. Putting them in, put them to work or something. I don't know. Like, seems like Russia could use some heavy duty immigration, I don't know. They need like another few hundred million people to move in.
Yeah.
We got a lot of open land.
I don't know. This might, I mean, I don't know. Every time I think of global warming, I was just like, if we just had some way, I mean, all right, well, I guess for the first thing is like, I feel like as humans, like we like to think of ourselves as like intelligent beings, but like we have this big ass, I mean, this is more of your thing, but like I just like whenever I think about it, I'm just like, we have this like big ass star sitting in the middle of our solar system, like way bigger than anything that we could even think, like imagine. And it's like showering us with energy every day. But instead of using that energy, we'd rather boil water with dead trees we found under the ground and make our energy that way.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
it's insane. Like, and like, there's
So
people who want to protect it. Like, there's people in like Ohio that are like, I want my kids to work in the mines. And I'm just like, bro, like, no, don't you want your kids to figure out how to use the star to like make energy? Like,
yeah,
what are you
I
talking
mean,
about?
the sun produces such a ridiculous quantity of energy. It's really insane. I mean, and if you could harness it, the problem is it's really inefficient for one. Um, there are more efficient solar panels that scientists have developed, but they need to work in a vacuum. I don't know why. I don't understand this stuff very well. But they're like way more efficient ones that work in a vacuum, but we can't get them to work like in an atmosphere. And like there's a lot of research being done. I actually watched a really cool talk this year, and unfortunately, like I said, I didn't have the background, so I didn't understand it. But the physics department had like this discussion where we call them colloquiums, and this guy came in and was like working on more efficient solar panels. There were a couple of them actually. It was really cool. But again, I really can't talk about it because I just barely understood enough to get credit. Like it was one of those things like busy week. Gotta get out of this talk. Oh man, it was a cool talk. But I almost wish I'd like taken more notes or something because like I don't know, it was
Yeah.
really interesting. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I think that solar panels really are by far the way to go forward. But it's just really hard to do in
Yeah.
practice, right? It's
Yeah.
more difficult than you think, just because you need so much land area, right, to do it, and it's dependent on the weather, and you need some sort of way to store it on like a massive capacity, right, which is actually really hard to do. Um, And so, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that that would be really feasible if like we had a massive government initiative, right? But I just don't see that happening in our, like very capitalist, like, whatever's profitable is what goes system, right? Um,
Yeah.
Kind of
I
the
don't,
tragedy of the commons, where in the long run, it would be way more profitable to just make a big, like unprofitable investment in stopping global warming right now, right? But instead, we're going to keep putting it off because more profits at the end of the year, right? We operate on a
I,
yearly capitalist system, right? But if we were operating on like a century-long capitalist system, right? Instead of every
yeah,
quarter you have a
I
report,
don't,
right? You know what I
I,
mean?
I don't know about that. It's not financially incentive because like I know like right now that's like the hot thing for all the billionaires is like they all want to be the first ones in like renewable energy. Like they want to be the ones who like own the company that revolutionized it and stuff. So like I know that's like I mean obviously your average investor can't afford to like those kinds of things, but like I know like at least like on TikTok and YouTube when I see like interviews of some of these really big like billionaire investors, like that's what they're all talking about is like they're all talking about renewable energy and trying to be the first ones to
Yeah.
like be there. I mean, there's even people like Elon Musk, like he's trying something with like Solar City. I can't remember what his company's called, but
Yeah.
they're all
Solar City.
they're all working hard at that. Like they all want to be the first ones to own like this new way of making electricity or power.
So let me clarify what I mean by that. What I mean is like the fossil fuel industry gets a
Mhm.
lot more government investment and a lot more investment in general every year by a couple zeros than renewable industries do, right?
Mhm.
And it's still, even today, right, after a lot, and excluding stuff like hydroelectric power that is really feasible and has a lot of other benefits for humanity, right? That people have already done, right? Kind of almost maxed on hydroelectric power, to be honest with you, because you kind of dam all the rivers early, right? Because it's so cheap and so useful. But there's only so much river power to be had, right? So you end up moving on to, so like I said, solar. And right now, solar just isn't particularly competitive. And of course, it will continue to get more competitive in the future. But I mean, the government already subsidizes them and invests in fossil fuels and stuff, right? I mean, there's a whole lobbying system going on there. And at the moment, right, at the current time, it's definitely more profitable if I'm opening, if I need a power, right? I'm not going to install solar panels on top of my roof, or if I'm like, making a company, right, and I need power. I need to, let's say I'm making a really large factory and I need to independently supply power, right, for some reason, right? Maybe I'm building it in Wyoming in the middle of nowhere. Okay. I'm going to contract with a coal company or something, right? Or build my own.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it's cheaper, right? And at the end of the quarter, the stockholders are going to be happier because I've got a green number or a bigger green number or a smaller red number, right? But I mean, if you look it out, like if you look at it like from the perspective of like, let's say you're the world leader for the next 100 years, right? You say, okay, how do I make the biggest green number over the next 100 years, right? Like I would say definitely invest as hard as you can in green energy now, because you're going to have a climate catastrophe if you don't, that's going to seriously impact growth, right? So I think that it makes capitalistic sense on a longer time scale, if that makes sense, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. Like, so the factory owners today, like, I mean, people like that are they don't care about this at all. But I guess what I meant more so is like there's people like the same way you have like investors who invest in like a pharmaceutical company, even though they know it's going to take like 30 years plus
Right.
to get a patent. That I'm
Right.
saying that that like this is like the new hot thing that I'm just
Yeah.
hearing about.
Yeah.
But
It's a long-term investment. It's a long-term.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
I know we've had some interesting comments on TikTok, and so I know we have a certain kind of audience that watches us, so I might appeal to them right now. But I mean, I like personally, like maybe this is just like like of course there's other perspectives. I get this is really like libertarian, like a really libertarian thing to say. But I mean, I think that's like the problem more so like with government in general. Like government is set like it's set up in a way like that is greedy. And like I think that like there's some people who like recognize that, like politicians and stuff, and who have tried to like capitalize that like in their like the way they campaign, like Trump tried to do it, or like I'd say a better example is someone like Andrew Yang who tried to like point this out. Because the thing is like when it like like the whole idea behind capitalism was that like it would become like a survival of the fittest, and that everyone would be on this like even playing field and all that kind of stuff. And like the other thing too is like, yeah, I'm trying to gather my thoughts, but what I'm trying to say is like if you look at a company, like a company is meant to be like cash conservative. So like when a company is thinking like what do we need to do to be successful, they're going to think what's the cheapest, fastest way to do this thing? What's the cheapest, fastest way to learn this next thing we need to learn to build it, and then to continue to grow from there. And they try to stay like lean and build that way. But the government is set up differently. Like the government is set up to like where like let's say like I'm running a department in the government. If I don't use up my whole budget by the end of the year, then I'm going to get less money next year. So not only am I not going to try to conserve I'm going to try to use up my whole budget, and I'm going to try to push for more money next year, because that makes me a better politician. And then I can go to tell these people, oh, look at all this fancy stuff I did, even if it doesn't actually like help anything. And so like the
Right.
government is, it's literally like the way our government is set up. And I'm getting to a different point, is that so it's set up as the opposite of a company, or the opposite of the way that like the capitalist mentality is.
Mhm.
And the thing too is that like that's not how America like always was. Like government wasn't always greedy. It wasn't always this big. Like I think it was not, I don't know if it was 1920 something or 1940 something, but there was a point in our history where there were no taxes, right? Like zero taxes at
It wasn't the
all.
1940s, because the 1940s was like FDR's New Deal, like
Okay,
probably the
maybe it was
most
the
socialist
20s.
thing I've ever been.
Yeah, let
Yeah.
me look it up while I'm talking. But there so there was a point in our history where we paid like the whole Boston Tea Party was it happened because like the British tried to tax us like I don't even, it's some small amount, and
Yeah, it
people
was
were
like
pissed off.
ridiculously small. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean too like
Dude, some
the
things never
thing,
change.
yeah. I mean here, so let me check. So when taxes introduced.
I would say probably, if I had to guess, I'd say 1920s were probably really low.
Okay,
Like,
1913. Yeah. No, you're right. They were low. And the reason they were low is because of this. It was because like around that time was like when you had the rise of like some of these like early robber barons when they were getting rich. And like
right.
people saw that. And it's like as soon as people saw that, like they adopted this like Robin Hood mentality, which they thought that, oh, like if we just had a way that we could take from them and give to like the poor people, then America would be fixed, right?
Mm,
And like, I mean, again, I get that what I'm saying is from one perspective. There's other perspectives on this, but the problem is that like those taxes initially, there were no taxes on the middle class or lower class. Like when they
mm,
first came out in America, it was just on the upper class. But the problem is that like the value of money is subjective and it's determined by like assets that are owned by the upper class. So when you increase tax on the upper class, when they have to pay more, they're just going to make the money worth less so that how whatever value they have doesn't change. And that's what happened. Like they tried taxing the rich and it just ended up affecting like the middle class and poor because now when you went to go buy bread, instead of it being like X amount of dollars, it was like X plus like some amount of dollars.
right. Two
And
X
so
amount of
it
dollars. I get it. Yeah.
yeah, and it continued on, and then before you know it, that
Inflation.
everyone was getting taxed, and like now we're at this point where like it's like this big hungry government that wants to incentivize things that just make it bigger and hungrier and more greedy,
Yeah.
and like that. Yeah.
So I mean,
Anyway, that was a little ramble.
yeah. No, that's okay. I would make a. I'm personally I my political views are kind of interesting because like I'm very much a socially conservative socialist, if that makes sense. Like I'm kind of the opposite, I think, of you financially, right, speaking. So it's like I think that, for instance, our system is largely set up to maximize profits, right? Like that's what's valued by the system at this time. And I agree that that kind of extends to the government. And I think that what they're missing, and that the government is missing, like in setting this up, is that I think that their job as the government. Um, I'm not a utilitarian personally, but I think that utilitarian values, right, have a lot of, and some moral values. But I think utilitarian values especially have a lot of place to a certain degree, right, within some moral parameters. As in making the most people happy. If you don't know what utilitarianism is, not you specifically, but anyone who's watching. And I think that it's important to kind of optimize your system for what you're trying to accomplish. And I think in running country, right, you should be trying to lift its people up, right, make the people I think that a country should invest in its people is what I'm trying to say, right, not try to grow its GDP as the fastest possible rate necessarily. Now that may be that's important too, right, economic growth is important. But I think that investing in, for instance, in education and in infrastructure and in impoverished people, because when you live in a society, right, the impoverished classes are important too. And if you want to progress as a society, I think that the impoverished classes kind of need to be able to have social mobility and also have a certain standard of living so you don't have social instability, if nothing else, right? Even if you don't care that people don't have food to eat, right? You should care at least, on a humanitarian level, right? You should at least care that they have food to eat so they don't come and rob you, right? Or that they don't riot or something, right? Because you're going to have, if people are that miserable, right? You're going to have socioeconomic inequality. So I think that if I were in charge of the government, which fortunately I'm not, but
Yeah.
I think that I would do something like, for instance, definitely implement something like, who was it? I forget which of the Democratic candidates said it. I think a couple of them came out with different rates. And I think it was like Nancy Pelosi and oh gosh, Bernie Sanders. Both came out with the wealth taxes, right? And that was a really controversial idea. But I think that implementing something like that, right, where you take vast amounts of wealth that are like possessed by billionaires and stuff, right? I mean, Jeff Bezos, right? How many? I don't even
Mhm.
know what he's worth, right? But every day it seems to be worth a few million more, billion more, right? I mean, I think it's 150 million. I don't know. Let's look. Hang on. I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos net worth. I mean, 185 billion bucks. I mean, like, I don't think that's good for the economy. Elon Musk
Mhm.
is 150. Like, what? I don't know. I think that that's very much, and that's after he got divorced, for God's sake. Okay, his wife's probably worth like half of that. Okay, I mean between the two of them, they've got like $250 billion. Like, I don't think that's good for anyone except for them, right? Like, I think that even upper class people would benefit more if that sort of ridiculous quantity of wealth were, right? I mean, if I'm a business owner, I want a larger base of customers to appeal to, right? And so even from a purely capitalist perspective, right, I think that taxing the uber rich, right, people with over $100 million in wealth, let's say, right, is
Mhm.
beneficial to everyone overall because you have a larger consumer class, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I
Um,
actually
I went on a rant too.
no, that's good because now this is a good conversation.
Yeah, it
So
is.
before before I get into the mansplaining that I there's a good chance I might get into, but I'm gonna try not to. Like, have you like I don't want to repeat things you already know. So like, have you like read like just because I know they're popular books. Like, have you read like Rich Dad Poor Dad or like Money Masters the Game or like I'll Teach You
My,
or like anything like that?
my dad's read a bunch of those. I've never read them.
Okay, I'm still in the learning phase of my life. I'm 80 95% of what I'm about to say is me just kind of regurgitating stuff that like I've literally just learned from books, not from experience, not
Yeah,
practically. If anyone out there tried to push me on any of these issues and like you know about them, you'd probably win. But I'm just gonna go out and
go for
just
it.
kind of because a lot of this stuff is addressed in this. So you were talking about taxing billionaires, and I
Mhm.
think that's one of the problems with what's been going on. I think if you look at America today, like the reason we have all this income inequality, and I'll explain what I mean by this, but it's really because like we started out as this capitalist country, then there was this push for like more socialism in the early 1900s, and now we're in like this weird in between where we're kind of trying to hold on to the capitalism. Some people are just trying to push us to socialism, and really, I don't know if socialism would work. I mean, we never really took the time, after the 18th century to give capitalism a solid shot because we started kind of getting into this middle ground. So, I mean, I feel like maybe the problem would be solved if we just picked one side and went with it.
Mhm.
But anyway, this is kind of what I'm trying to get at there. So what I was talking about earlier with like taxing rich people in the early 1900s was like, okay, so there you tax the rich people, they own the grocery store, they cause inflation, now their money is safe. But when you talk about taxing billionaires, there's a couple points. So one is the one that always comes up. So you talked about Jeff Bezos being worth like 100 whatever billion dollars, right?
185 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but so where is that net worth coming from? Like where's that number like almost all of it coming from?
Probably stock in Amazon.
Yeah, and realistically, could he ever sell that stock to have like 100 whatever billion dollars?
Probably not.
Yeah, and so it's like
You could
it's one
probably
of
sell
those.
a pretty significant portion of it because what's Amazon's market cap? I mean, it's got to be over a trillion, right?
Yeah, but
You could
they
probably sell a lot of it. With
yeah,
that,
but I
with
mean
that rate.
what I'm
You
saying
could
is
pump out at least a 50 billion if
that
you need 50 billion. Let's put it that way.
yeah. But what I'm saying is that that's all value that's been created and he's kind of like he's kind of sitting on it. Like the thing is like we as a society have become so used to looking at measuring wealth by net worth. But in
Mm.
reality, if you get into the world of rich people, it's not about net worth, it's about cash flow. And like in reality, the richest person in America, it's probably not Jeff Bezos, it's probably some oil tycoon in Texas because that person probably has a big ass empire that produces them the most cash flow every month compared to any other person in America.
Hmm.
And so here's the other thing about taxing billionaires. Like you've got to realize that in our country, like not just people who have a lot of money, because there's football players, there's lottery winners, there's people who get lots of cash, but they don't know what to do with it and they lose it all. When I'm talking about rich people, I'm talking about the people who know how to put their money to work for them and know how to make a lot of money. Even if they went
Right.
broke today, in 5 years they'd be back where they are. I'm talking about those people. Those people, the problem is they have all the power in the country today. And so they've made rules and they've made loopholes to protect themselves. So
Right.
so here's the thing about rich people too. So rich people don't make money from an earned income, right? They might have an earned income because they
Yeah,
have
they're
a
tax
job that they
deferred.
like.
Yeah.
So like let's say I'm a rich person and I love building companies. So maybe my profession is an entrepreneur and maybe, I start a startup and just to be fair, I pay myself a salary for running that startup and I have some earned income. But in reality, I'm like, you can tax that all day long, because the reason I'm rich is because I've spent my whole life building up an asset column. Each one of those assets, I don't do anything. Like if, like, let's say I have properties and they're managed by a rental property like a rental property management company. Like I'm not spending
Yeah.
my time there, but each one of those properties is making me more and more money that I'm putting in somewhere else, right? So all
Yeah.
of the
Yeah. Yeah.
money that I'm making, it's not coming from an income that's going to be taxed by Social Security and all of that. It's coming from my asset column, right? And you would think, oh, well, then they pay capital gains on that, right? It would still get taxed. But that's not true, because there's things that exist, like for example, like in real estate, like there's this thing called like a 1031. I can't remember. It's like a tax vehicle. I don't know what it's called, but I know it's called a 1031. And it's like, if I buy a house and sell it for a higher value, I can just put my money in a 1031. I never pay tax on that money as long as I use it to buy another house, and then I keep trading up and up and up. And then
Hmm.
at the end of the day, all I pay is capital gains on the big ass lump sum I get.
Right.
And here's the real kicker. Like, the real reason you can't tax the rich is because they, like, the rich invented corporations so that you couldn't tax them. Like, when people think of a corporation, they think, oh, it's a big building somewhere. It's like a what? It's not. A corporation is literally like, I've literally thought
It's
it's
a,
it's
yeah.
two it's two pages, two pieces of paper
Hmm.
sitting in like your state's like whatever, like business register. I can't remember what it's called. It's sitting in a
Business
state.
registrar. I
It's
don't
yeah.
know.
It,
Yeah.
it's
Whatever it
two
is.
pieces of paper sitting in someone's office, and you know what a corporation allows you to do? Like so
But
so here's this
well, I
again.
know it
This is
acts as an independent entity and has a lower tax rate, right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
this is the kicker, right? Like,
Mm.
if you think someone like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk owns a house, like, you're wrong. They probably don't own a house, and you want to know why?
Why?
So like, let's say that like you, Alex Marshall, are like a billionaire, like a multi-billionaire tycoon, right? And like, let's just say one of your favorite ways that you invested your money was real estate, right? So that's one of the things in your asset column is real estate.
I just buy entire
Okay.
subdivisions at a time. Sure. Why
Yeah,
not?
because you that's one of the assets you love buying. Like, you love
I
houses, you
bought
love looking at
Clemens
them.
today,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna sell it tomorrow for $100,000.
Well,
I don't
no,
know,
you
however.
bought Clemens today because, first of all, underlying the value of Clemens is increasing, but you bought it because it's going to produce you cash flow every month that you
Yeah,
can use to
I'm
buy up
making
more.
everyone right now.
So yeah,
Mhm.
again, that's the way that rich people think. But okay, this is what I'm saying. The kicker with corporations. So you have your real estate that you love to do, right? So like, let's just say you set up a corporation called Alex Marshall Real Estate Incorporated. Okay. So
Creative.
so you don't own any of the property that you own. Your
Right.
corporation, Alex Marshall Real Estate,
Now owns
owns
Clemens.
owns Clemens,
Right.
right? And maybe a bunch of other small little towns out there too.
Right.
And now every month that corporation is going to make a certain amount. It's going to have a certain amount of cash flow. It's going to make a certain amount of money, right? And now
Yeah.
that cash, it's out there like in a liquid state.
Yeah.
And the thing is that rich people have engineered these corporations in a way that if you take all of that money, right? Like,
Hmm.
let's say you take all of it except 200 grand. You take all of it and then you invest it in more property,
Hmm.
right? Before it gets taxed, you can just go out and buy more property, buy more stocks with it, buy
Hmm.
more companies, but before a penny of it gets taxed, you go out and do that. And then with that
Wow.
last 200 grand, let's say that you, Alex Marshall, want yourself a Ferrari, right? With the pre-tax money, Alex Marshall Real Estate Incorporated can go buy a company Ferrari. And guess what? You're the sole employee of Alex Marshall Real Estate Company. So all that money goes, so
There you
the
go.
rest of the money goes to the Ferrari. And guess how much money the government's seen the whole time? $0. So you know who
Yeah.
gets taxed with Joe Biden's tax plan when he's saying, "Oh, I'm going to make all this money by taxing people over $400,000." He's not wrong. He's going to bring in a lot more money, but who gets taxed? It's the surgeons, it's the NFL players, it's the NBA players.
Right.
It's the CEOs,
It's
it's the
not the uber rich people.
highest paid employees of the real rich people in the country.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, everyone talks about taxing the rich, but like, what you don't realize is like, the rich have all the power. They just invent things to protect their money. They keep doing it
Yeah.
year after year after year. Like, what I'm saying is just some like basic stuff I read in a book. Like, I'm sure there's way more
Yeah,
advanced
I'm
things
sure.
out there you can do.
I
So
have no
anyway, that's
idea.
that's my rant. That's my rant.
Unfortunately, I haven't read about I have not read. I need to read through Biden's tax plan at some point because maybe that
I
can be our
haven't.
next fix discussion because I would engage about it, but I have no idea. I haven't. I kind of knew a little bit about Bernie's tax plan because I thought it was kind of wild, and I was like, that's kind of wild. I want to know about that. But like, I don't know. Biden's like a boring politician, and to be quite frankly, honest with you, that's one of the reasons I voted for him. But you know, like, um, it's not like I'm like, oh, I gotta go read Biden's tax plan. I'm so excited. He just dropped the new tax plan today. Like, woo! I don't know, dude. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Didn't like, not exactly, I don't know, not turning my butter. That's not an
Yeah.
expression, but I made it up. But yeah,
Anyway,
no.
but
So I think that's a good point. And I largely do agree with you. And yeah, the only thing I disagree with is I think I would definitely buy something more interesting than a Ferrari. I don't know. I feel like for $200,000, like, I don't know, man. I feel like for like $1,000,000, yeah, I'd probably go for a Ferrari, like a classic Ferrari. But like for $200,000, I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe like obviously a Honda Civic 2017
yeah.
CX
A
or whatever.
2012 Infiniti G37. That's for
Nah, dude,
that's for that one.
that Honda Civic. Maybe I get I could honestly see myself driving a Type R Civic. It's all cringy and shit, but like I don't know. I think it'd be kind of
Yeah,
fun to mess with.
if that's what you like honestly, like I feel like, I mean, if you have any kind of like flashy car, everyone's gonna think you're a douche in the first place. So it doesn't really matter which one you get, Like get the one you like. Eventually,
I don't know.
not
I
not
would
with your
no. I
savings.
don't. I don't think I'm ever gonna spend a lot of money on a car. But like, I think it'd be kind of cool to
Yeah.
like mod out a Civic or something, just to like mod a car. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of dope. I don't
You'd
know.
be like Jeff Bezos. Have you seen that video of him from like
What
the
is he? Does
early
he have like a?
2000s?
Does he have a whatchamacallit? Modded out Civic?
No. Someone he was like it's a video from the early 2000s where like someone's like it's like a news reporter interviewing him on his way to work, and they're like sitting in his car, and then at the end of the interview it like zooms out to the car they're filming from, and you see like his whole car, and the interviewer's like, "So you're worth somewhere in the vicinity of $10 billion," and he's like, "That's correct." He's like, "So why do you drive a Honda Accord?" And then like he
Because
does
it's
this,
a nice car.
yeah, yeah.
I don't feel that, dude.
That's the
I
smart thing
mean,
to do, though. It's why he got rich.
I honestly like. I don't know, man. The only thing I could look for in a car more than the car I've already got is have it be fun to drive. And I'll be honest with you, my car's not that fast, but it's fun to drive. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like I would much rather drive my car than like a $400,000 like I don't know how expensive do Cadillac Escalades get? Probably 250 or something, right? I have no idea.
hmm.
So I
Oh,
got like
no,
top of the line.
not 250,000. No.
No.
They're like maybe probably start like 70, 80 grand if I had to
Oh,
guess.
really? I didn't know there's so cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, cheap, relatively speaking, for like expensive cars. So let's say I don't know. I'd rather drive my car than like a really expensive SUV, whatever that is. Like I don't know. What's that Mercedes? That's like that off-road Mercedes. That's really insane. I can't remember.
the
Anyway,
G wagon.
yeah, the G wagon, right? Those get up to pretty expensive, right? Don't those get up to about 200? I don't know.
The AMG version is up there. I think if you get the regular one, it's like 100 something thousand.
Yeah, I just like driving my car that's glued to the ground. Honestly, I think that's way more fun.
I
I
do too.
don't. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna buy anything but a sedan, dude. I love going around corners too fast. I'm addicted. I
Yeah,
used to do that, dude. You remember my Buick LeSabre, dude? 2001 Buick LeSabre.
yeah. What happened to that?
It died. The
Oh,
transmission went, and that car was worth about $1,000, and it was going to be $3,000 to replace the transmission. It was probably about 10,000 miles before something else broke. So got
hmm.
the Civic, but yeah, I used to whip that thing around the corners for no good reason, and that's what I do now with my Civic, and I just have fun. So can't help it.
Yeah. We
Not
have
fast,
a
just fun. Just have fun.
Yeah, we have a you know the like the car that my dad used to drive, like the older Infinity, right?
Yeah, yeah. The
We've
2000.
had that parked in front of our house. It hasn't moved an inch for like years now. It's been at
Drive
least
it, dude.
like
It's
two.
gonna like rot out or something.
It is like we today like we needed like we have like a little jumper battery thing for the car,
Mhm.
like so that it's basically so you don't have to like jump it with another car.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
we thought it was sitting in that car, and so for the first time we went to try and open it, and the battery was dead, so we couldn't get into the trunk. And like you literally see under it, like there's like cracks in the road where like weeds and stuff are growing through, like up under it. Like I feel like the neighbors are probably gonna like probably starting to get a little bit pissed off. We tried donating it to charity too, and the charity people didn't want it. It's so funny.
What? Dang. Well,
Yeah.
that's good intentions. That's what counts. Good intentions.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah. I don't know. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at her. Oh yeah. So you're having some wisdom teeth out, right?
Yeah. I got him out 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Already? I thought you were still okay. Well,
No.
how's that going?
Okay. It's going well. I feel like okay, I don't want to be because I already had the rich people rant, so I'm gonna try to keep this. I'm gonna try to keep my thoughts on this short. But okay, first of all, like, dude, I was like, I mean, luckily, I feel like now I'm at the point where I consciously understand that like alcohol and all these things like they don't change who you are. So like, I mean, like I feel like like when I went there, I was like still totally in control. Although the thing is, like, I don't remember like anything, but like
Mhm.
I didn't expect that like so what I'm saying is like I don't think I did anything cringy or said anything bad. Like I literally asked my dad after. I was like, wait a sec, I didn't like say it. He was like, no, like you were just normal, but seemed like you were drunk and trying to be normal. But
Yeah.
like and I think I was actively trying to do that. But when they put that thing like on my nose and she was like, okay, breathe through your nose, like I was just like she said it was laughing gas, and I was just like, I mean, all right, like I don't know what this is supposed to feel like, but I was like maybe I'll just get kind of dizzy and like or something. And then like she said, oh, you should start feeling it now, and I was just like, I don't feel anything, like I feel fine. And then like it was literally like in almost like the blink of an eye, I felt like I had like 8 beers. Like I was just like I was sitting there like what the and then the
Yeah,
thing
like
too,
dude, my limbs just went to sleep and I was like, holy shit.
dude,
Like
no,
I
it
feel funny
wasn't.
and then like they
Yeah.
IV'd me and I was out. Like I didn't remember
Oh
anything.
yeah.
I just
Dude,
remembered it
they
burned when the IV went in and then I was gone.
yeah. No,
Wild.
I just remember like I was literally like what I was doing then is like literally what I do like I mean I wasn't expecting it to be the same as like alcohol. Like I thought it was gonna be like something different, but I literally just felt drunk. Like it was the
Yeah.
weirdest experience.
Hmm. Yeah, that's funny. No, I just felt kind of strange. And then afterwards, I remember I felt really weird. Like
Not
I
that I
slept.
have 8 beers, by the way, for anyone watching. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just needed to put that out there. If
Me
I
drink
drink,
alcohol? Never.
yeah, no, but
Hypothetically
like
speaking, if I ever had drunk
realistically,
8 beers.
yeah, realistic. Like I promise I'm not that irresponsible. I'm just comparing it to like
The
you know,
hypothetical thing,
yeah,
not that
like
you at 19
yeah,
you're 20 now. Not that
yeah,
you at 20 would ever have imagined doing such a thing, of course.
yeah. No, I literally mean like I think full disclosure. Even if hypothetically I drank, I promise I would not be that drunk.
Mhm.
Haven't done that in a long time, ever.
Wait, what? Hang on, what now?
Yeah,
Kushaga.
ever.
Never,
Yeah.
ever. Okay. Um,
But yeah, I just need to put that out there in case anyone in the future is watching this. I promise I'm much more responsible than that. Sorry, I didn't
yeah,
mean to I cut you off.
our future employers, right? They're gonna like Google, dude, that's what all our views are gonna come from. Is like when I apply to grad school, like they're gonna all
Yeah.
the grad school people are gonna Google us and watch all our videos to see if I said anything bad. There we go. We'll get views like that.
Yeah.
um, no, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, all I remember is I woke up and I was like kind of out of it, and my mom was just trying to be nice and like like help me to the car and like tell me what to do and stuff because I wasn't really like with it, and I just like got really mad and told her to fuck off and started crying. And I was
Yeah.
like, and I got home and I was like, why did I do that? Like it was one of those things that like it was probably like normally I'd be kind of annoyed if she did that and like would want to kind of tell her to fuck off, but I would like never think of acting on it, right? I would just be annoyed. And then like right, but like I was like I had no inhibitions. I was just like, oh, I'm annoyed. I'm gonna tell her to fuck off, right? And then I told her to fuck off, and then I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right? And then I felt like crying, so I cried because they get no inhibitions, right? It's funny.
Yeah. You like Matthew McConaughey, but
Yeah,
like very intoxicated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Tennessee bombing. I don't even know what happened there. I know you
Oh,
want
have
to talk
you?
about that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You
I heard about something. I
it
heard something
was.
about it, and it was like yesterday, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw
Well,
it on the news. I haven't really followed it, but dude, it was a map. It was a like,
RV or something,
so
right? Did someone blow up
yeah,
an
so
RV?
yeah. So what happened was like, or at least what they were saying on the news, yeah, like they weren't releasing any details yesterday morning, so I don't know what developments have happened. But like the guy who came on was basically saying that like they got a call for like shots fired or something like that, that like around this RV, and they like a police officer showed up to check it out, and then he had like reason to believe that there were like explosives involved, and so he decided to call the bomb squad, and while they were like on route, like, or on route, what, how would you say that, like
Yeah.
while they were coming there, I don't know if that helped. Anyway, when they were arriving to like the scene, like the the thing exploded. And so like I don't know if any, I hope no one got hurt. I don't know if anyone got hurt or
People
like
were
what.
injured, is what I heard, but
Yeah.
it's not
Dude, but
terrible for such a thing.
it was a huge explode. Like
Yeah, I saw the picture. I think they evacuated people or something because apparently no one got killed, which is kind of amazing.
yeah, that's really good. Cause that it looked really bad.
Yeah, it did. Looked like it. They probably had enough. I think it was broadcasting a message that was going to blow up or something. I think that's how they knew it was going to blow up. It was
Oh, I
like,
didn't know that.
that's what I heard about this morning. Was like, yeah, we knew it was going to blow up because it was like we're playing a message over and over again, like a loudspeaker, that it was going to blow up. And that was kind of a giveaway.
Do they think they know who it is?
I haven't heard anything of the sort. I doubt they would say if they did. Right? You don't want them to start running.
Yeah. Dude,
Um,
have you seen that AT&T building though in Nashville? Sorry, I know this is a serious topic, and I'm not
no,
gonna
go
make
for it.
I'm not making fun
What's
of it.
up?
I'm
What's
just I'm
up?
just switching gears. Have you seen that AT&T building in Nashville?
Nope.
Here, I gotta show it to you. Here, it is. It literally looks like an evil supervillain's like lair. Like it's like the most evil building I've ever seen. Like again, switching topics,
Yeah.
nothing to do with yeah.
I mean, we're on the topic of Tennessee.
No, I'm saying this for the people watching. Like I promise, I'm not trying to smile or laugh or anything at what we were just talking about. But here, actually, this should be interesting. I wonder if someone else feels the same way as me. Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Go for it.
All right. How do I share just the, oh, there it is. Yeah. Have you seen this?
Hang on, I can't see. Oh, there we go. Let's see it.
That.
Oh, wow.
Tell me that doesn't look evil. It's got like horns and shit. Look at that.
Yeah, dude, you're right. It looks kind of demonic there. Yeah, for sure. Wow.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
who
I was kind
designed
of laughing
this?
at you when you said it looked evil, but it does look pretty evil. I'm not gonna lie.
Look
I'm
at
not
that.
gonna lie.
Nashville. That's their biggest building too. That's their skyline.
Mm.
It's that
That's how
that thing right
AT&T
there.
has such good coverage, dude. Ever since we switched to T-Mobile, my life is just ugh. Can't get a
Yeah.
signal. Can't get
At
a
least
signal anywhere.
you have unlimited data, right?
Yeah, but you can't get any data, so it's not very unlimited.
Oh.
Unlimited horseshit's just still a big pile of horseshit.
Yeah. Anyway, it probably works in Winston, right?
It works fine in Winston. It doesn't work in my dorm, which is really amazing. Like I don't know if I will just like drop calls if I move in my dorm, right? Like if I like walk from one room to another. Same thing in my house. And sometimes I'll just be sitting there and not moving and I'll drop the call. If I walk into my dorm, it drops the call. If I walk out of the dorm, it drops my call. It's something else. It's like if it's like any possible change in anything, and it's like, nope, that's it. You're done. Lost the call. So it's really annoying. But and forget it if you're driving, right? If you're driving like in downtown Winston, you're goner. But yeah, not the end of the world, though, of course. Yeah, that's a pretty evil looking building. What were we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of urban areas, right? I think we wanted to talk about shopping center apartments or something, right?
Oh, yeah, I put
no,
that. That was just another one of
yeah,
my
shopping
crazy
center
ideas to talk
apartments.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
I
noticed it.
was, yeah, I was telling like, because obviously, yeah, I'm trying to think of where the best place to start on this is. I think that like these like shopping centers that you're starting to see in smaller areas like Chapel Hill or Durham or Winston, where it's like apartment, like they build an apartment complex and then the bottom story is restaurants and stuff. And then once they build it, the area gets really trendy. I
Yeah,
feel like those are taking over. And like the thing is like I was looking at like I don't know, like now that like I feel like I'm literally like okay, I don't want to offend anyone, especially like you know if there's someone out there who's like you know been negatively like impacted by something like this, but I'm seriously just waiting for the next like housing market crash. Like it's happened 3 times in our lifetime, and I'm just waiting. I'm so ready to like get out there and like I mean obviously like if it happened like tomorrow, like I wouldn't know what to do. Like I haven't like like
right.
gone out and tried
Two
to
years from
I
now. Two
haven't.
years from now.
Yeah, but and the thing too is like next year it's the real estate market I think in general is just expected to go up. So I mean no one's I mean again I don't know if that's what people were saying in 2005 and then 2000 who knows, but like
Yeah, I don't think
dude
that's a good indication. If they say it's going to go up, that
yeah,
doesn't mean much.
yeah, but still like these like because like there's areas that I think about that I feel like could be transformed into like you know where C Square is on Franklin Street, like that area, or like where Vala's apartments are, like where you
Yeah, yeah,
walk
yeah, yeah.
out and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
restaurants,
Oh my
like
God, that's so
a
nice.
literal like it's literally just like two little strips of restaurants, but it feels so lively and there's
It's so
bars,
nice.
but
Yeah,
it's just
so for
too
our viewers, my girlfriend goes to NC State University, and
smart.
she lives yeah, there we go. See, she lives on this really cool street. I forget what it's called. Oh man, this is stupid. I should know. She used to live there. She moved out with the pandemic. Kidding. But before NC State closed, she lived there. And I actually, at the end of the summer, because I've been quarantining in my house all year, I went and stayed with her for like almost 2 weeks. And it's like such a nice area. Like you can walk all over the place. You can walk from her street right onto campus and just take a nice run or a nice walk all through campus for a couple hours just to get out of the apartment. There are restaurants on in there. There's like bubble tea, which sorry, I'm like a huge fan of bubble tea. I know that kind of makes me like I don't know, yoga pants white girl or something, but like it's really good stuff, man. I just love me some bubble tea. And what's the other thing they have down there? Uh they have like a nice convenience store. I don't know. I just love like getting on the elevator and going down and like eating food, like it's nice. Like don't have to go far. Oh, there's a coffee shop. They have like a beautiful like self-roasting coffee shop right there. Self-roasting. I don't know. What do you call that? Roast
No
masters. I don't
idea.
know. Anyway, they roast their own coffee and it's really cool. It's called Cup of Joe and it's really delicious. And like I said, we're not sponsored. So,
Yeah,
it's honestly really good. Like every morning I probably spent like $40 at the stupid place. I just keep going getting more coffee. But it's freaking
yeah.
delicious. Yeah, I mean, I really want to live in one of those places, to be honest with you. Um,
Yeah, and the thing is, they're literally they're islands, right? Like
yeah,
it's like I think of it like again like with like absolutely no like technical understand. Like I haven't like found someone that does this and then asked them to teach me. Like this is purely from like a speculative, uninformed perspective. But like I feel like those things like they can just exist as island and like if you think about like an area like in Clemens where they built like the LA fitness whatever it's called,
yeah.
uh I forgot, but there's like it's where Panera used to be. Like there's a place called First Watch there now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen it.
It's like
I
a
remember.
shopping center. There's like
Yeah.
there's Mossy's, like the bar and the grill.
Mm-hmm.
They're building a hotel back there. There's the new strip of restaurants and stuff they built. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, dude, if you had enough space to literally like put two of those, I mean, like again, I don't I I'm not speaking from a place of expertise, but I just feel like that would be like such an attractive place to live in like Winston,
Mm-hmm.
especially because like I mean like there's got to be a reason they're building all these apartments in like downtown. There's got to be a crowd for that want something like that. Like,
Hmm.
and I know like a lot of people who like think that that stuff is cool, but like they're just like, oh, it's too expensive. But I'm just like, if there was something like that, that like you had like the bars and the restaurants around, like you could walk out, there was like a little laid back, but just like a fun atmosphere. But like,
Oh yeah. I
like I
mean,
feel like
here's
that
the thing,
that
right?
would be
Like,
sick.
yeah. They're not like I remember I was in Raleigh, um, and we went to like gosh, and last summer, we went to the Cheesecake Factory and we ate outside, so it was pretty safe. Like there was almost no one there. We went in the middle of the afternoon, but like, was it? No, it wasn't the Cheesecake. It was called the Cowfish. That's what it was. We went to the Cowfish. Have you been to
Oh
the
yeah,
Cowfish?
yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah,
what
it's
that
really
is.
good. And it was one of the locations, kind of more towards the middle of Raleigh. It's like a 20 minutes away from state or something. But we went and ate outside there, and great sushi and everything. And then we took a walk, and it was one of those apartment shopping center complexes, and like I don't know, like I looked up the pricing and it was like way less. I mean, it was like they were all like a grand to 1,600, right? For like a pretty small apartment, right? In like a month, and like I don't know, like for young people, like that's pretty affordable, right? Especially if you get a roommate or something, you get a double, like,
You're right. You're
live with
right.
a or something, right? Like, but like if right, if I as long as I'm splitting the rent with someone, right, even as a poor grad student, right, which is what I'll be when I graduate, like hey, like that's pretty viable, really, like it's not an impossible dream, right, to live somewhere like that, right? I don't know, pretty
You're
reasonable.
right. I don't know.
Long term, I wouldn't want to live there, like it's a lot of money to pay for for rent every month without any, I think long term you want to live in a house, just to get some capital, but
Yeah.
because
Well, that's a whole nother rant I could go into, because I know that's
yeah,
like a big point in Rich Dad Poor Dad, that he talks about like how like he talks about like when he makes the differentiate, like when he differentiates between like like lower class and the middle class, he talks about how like the like lower class, like they just earn income and spend it. Like he goes like from their income column to their expense column, and it never touches their
yeah,
balance sheet at all.
right.
But he talks about how like in the middle class, like the middle class buys liabilities that they think are assets, like a
Mhm.
house. And he
Yeah.
says the reason for that is because like you buy a house and you think that it's an asset because the underlying value might increase a bit. But he says like in reality, like the way you should think about assets is in terms of cash flow.
Mm.
Because if you look at a house in reality, like you're paying a mortgage every month, you're paying property tax every month, damages can happen, like
It's
there's
yeah,
utilities. And so
I
rather than
agree.
producing positive cash flow that you use to go out and buy more assets, it's producing negative cash flow. So it goes in the liabilities column. So it's like it's one of those things
Well,
where like I'm
I'm
not
not
gonna own a
saying
house for a
living in a
while.
house. I wouldn't use a house as an investment. I think it's a better investment in an apartment where you have literally no, like of course, you're gonna have to have a job and stuff, right? So like me, I'm gonna be in grad school, like I said, right? So I mean, will I be able to afford a house? Probably not, right? Like not for a
Yeah.
while. Um, so now for instance, um, but like you might be able to afford a house, right? You're probably gonna have a job and stuff, right, at some point here. So like that's probably more viable for
Ah,
someone who's like,
I'm
going
not buying a
after
house for a while.
you're not buying a house for a while. I feel
I'm
like
not, I'm
buying a
not
house is like putting down roots too. Like it's hard to sell them.
not for your financial not for your personal finances, it's not.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
If I
Yeah.
had to out of like if I had a wife and kids and I'm just like, oh, I have to provide, then it's like, well, shit, that's what I have to do to provide. But like as long as I'm interested in building up my asset column, I'm not buying a
Hmm.
house. Not
Interesting.
even thinking about it.
Very interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Huh.
But I
Yeah,
will I
I
will
wouldn't. I
say,
wouldn't buy a mortgage. I wouldn't like get a loan or something. That's for sure. Like as far as like financial, like ideally, right? Like it's way better to just straight up buy it, right? Or get like a really small loan and pay it off as quickly as possible, so you don't pay a lot of interest, right?
yeah.
But of course, that's not viable if for most
I
people. So
Yeah. I might try learning about the house hacking thing, where like the people have this thing that I can't remember how it works, but like you basically buy a duplex. And I'm sure it's way more complicated than this, but like the really simplified version, just to give you a
mhm.
sense of what it's all about, is like you buy a duplex, you rent out one half, You aggressively pay down the mortgage for the first like several years. And I think there's ways to do it where the other half just pays for like almost everything. You live there for free. But then once you pay down the
Mhm.
mortgage enough, you can refinance. And at that point, like either the other half, the rent from that pays for the whole thing, or like you're earning money just living in
Mhm.
your half that you own the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds kind of dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you just have to have enough credit. I mean, you have to have a starting resource of like, enough credit and enough capital to make that a decent purchase, right? Or like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just buying
It just
duplexes.
depends. It
Like if it's a
depends on how
decent
you
duplex, if
plan.
it's a duplex you're gonna want to live in, right? It's gonna be somewhat expensive, right? So it's, of course,
Yeah.
it's subject to different individual circumstances, right? I mean, if you have a nest egg of 50 grand, it's a lot more viable, and you're making, I don't know how much it would be to buy a duplex. Depends on the location. Let's just say
It
100
depends on
grand
the
a year,
down payment, honestly. If you're
right?
doing it if you're renting it out, it's all on the down payment, not the actual.
Yeah, that's true. So it's really about the down payment, but the down
Yeah.
payments, like depending on someone's situation, right? Where may
Yeah.
or may not
Yeah,
have access
I
to
see what you're
capital.
saying.
Um,
Sorry, I know I'm adding to the conversation, but at the same time, I'm noticing I think we're over an hour.
are we?
And
I think I think
I
this is a
promise
good
to
spot.
talk less next week.
Yeah, we will.
But
I think we're gonna keep trying to trim things down. Maybe we've been talking about maybe going to twice a week, and kind of making the videos a little bit more approachable. So maybe if anyone's watching, let us know in the comments below. What you think about
yeah.
because I think sometimes when I'm on YouTube and I see like an hour long, an hour and a half long talk or something, I'm like, man, I don't got time. I don't got time for that. I'm gonna go like watch something else, like 20 minutes or something, and then I'll end up watching 2 or 3 20-minute ones, right? I feel like I'm spending less time, right? Because each one's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Kind of
But
fun like that.
yeah. But if you want to hit him with the outro, then I can stop recording
Yeah.
and we can
Well,
wrap things up.
thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you. Next Saturday. I don't know what
Yep.
else is that a good outro?
Yeah, that's perfect. Here, let me
All
stop
right.
recording quick.
Well.